Lose yourselves in the ocean of my words, that ye may unravel its secrets and discover all the pearls of wisdom that lie hid in its depths.
Okay, let's talk about the second spiritual power, which is thought. Abdul-Baha says, thought which reflects upon realities. If we look at the two verbs, to think and to reflect, there are literally dozens of ways to describe them. Here's some synonyms of thinking and reflecting: to consider, esteem, feel, figure, guess, hold, judge, reckon. I'm putting the rest of them on the screen, although there are more. My point is that there are many synonyms for the word to think, which really it's an activity of the mind, so there's going to be a lot of synonyms, and it's something to meditate on and really reflect about. Here are a couple of the many references of reflection from the writings. O people of Baha, the source of crafts, sciences, and arts is the power of reflection. Make ye every effort that out of this ideal mind there may gleam forth such pearls of wisdom and utterance as will promote the well-being and harmony of all the kindreds of the earth. Notice how Baha'u'llah relates the expression pearls of wisdom to the power of reflection, again confirming what Abdul-Baha stated. Also, Baha'u'llah has said, 1 hour's reflection is preferable to 70 years of pious worship. When thinking about comprehension, I imagine a person looking at a big bridge and asking himself if he could make a bridge like that. Well, we know it would be almost impossible if he did not know and comprehend a great deal about mathematics, construction, physics, and engineering. Being a composer, I have taken dozens of courses including theory, harmony, improvisation, counterpoint, and form, to name a few. So this is how we comprehend something, by studying, really digging into it, and learning everything you can about the topic. Comprehending the holy texts also requires study, but studying the 5 spiritual powers has greatly helped me, and this is why I want to share it with you. I hope that you will share your ideas and opinions with me. Please write to me at fritzkersting@gmail.com. It's posted on the screen. Okay, let's move on to the common faculty. As stated before, Abdul-Baha says, this intelligence of man is the intermediary between his body and his spirit. It is the ability to learn or understand or deal with new or trying situations. The ability to apply knowledge, to manipulate one's environment, or to think abstractly as measured by objective criteria. So if intelligence is the intermediary between the physical powers and the spiritual powers, how do we improve it? Obviously, educating yourself is very important. Let's have just a little bit of music. This is from the Hidden Word, Persian number 16, Myriads of Mystic Tongues. Okay, moving on, I want to talk a little bit about simplicity. It is a topic important to me as a composer, and it is a quality that deserves some mention. Abdul-Baha confirms this, talking about Baha'u'llah's writings. In some of his writings, the way of holiness is pointed out in such simple terms that the wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein. He's actually quoting the Bible there. That's from Isaiah 35, number 8. Here's a quote by Albert Einstein that I like about simplicity. He says, "If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself." Leonardo da Vinci said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Leo Tolstoy said, "There is no greatness where there is not simplicity, goodness, and truth." I would like to tell the story of Shinichi Suzuki, who invented the Suzuki method. Maybe you've heard of this. You've seen the little kids playing violin. Some are the age of even 3, 4, 5 years old. It's a method that is practiced around the whole world. And actually, I'm trained in this method also, so I know something about it. It's a really fantastic story. Dr. Suzuki one day came up with this idea from a single sentence that said, "All Japanese children speak Japanese." Well, your first thought is, well, okay, so what? Well, anyway, when he meditated on that thought, he discovered that really when you think about music, the qualities of music and the qualities of language have a lot in common. So he developed this method of teaching music really based upon how we learn language, where you listen and hear and speak the language before you learn to read and write. He developed this method from one little idea and from a very simple, obvious sentence. His method has reached around the whole world. He's very famous, and he does it a lot through love. So this is a story about simplicity. So I recommend that we meditate on things very, very simple. Sometimes it can reveal a whole lot of things. Example, in the Baha'i faith, the oneness of mankind. That's only 4 words, and look how powerful that is when we apply it. So take a minute and let's see if you can think of your own simplicity or your own little phrase of simplicity. It could be some fun. Okay, another thing, this might seem really obvious, but to me it's really important. One of the best and simplest tools for trying to unravel a secret in language is the dictionary. I think the dictionary is underrated. It is much more than definitions. Looking up synonyms and learning the roots and history of a word are also very valuable. Baha'u'llah says, "Immerse yourself in the ocean of my words." Simply put, if you do not fully understand the words of Baha'u'llah, how can you unravel its secrets? Since words have multiple meanings, that means the better we understand each meaning, the more likely we can understand the word we are reading. I mean, let's ask ourselves honestly, how often do we read the writings and we come upon a word that we're not exactly sure of what it means, pass over it, and continue reading? I'm certainly guilty of this. The use of vocabulary in the Baha'i writings is at a very high level, especially with the writings of Shoghi Effendi. So let's use the dictionary. So, continuing my investigation, I asked myself, where do these spiritual powers come from? How can I improve myself or help others improve? I found this quote by Abdul-Baha that says, "Without mind, there would be no imagination." And there's that word again, imagination. This quote was in a talk by Abdul-Baha about soul, mind, and spirit. I have the link on the screen here. So, what is the mind? Again, Abdul-Baha says, the mind is the power of the human spirit. Spirit is the lamp. Mind is the light which shines from the lamp. I repeat, spirit is the lamp. Mind is the light which shines from the lamp. In talking about lamps, I have another couple minutes of music I'd like to share with you.
Oh my Lord, oh my Lord, this is a lamp, this is a lamp, lighted by the fire of thy love, and ablaze with the flame which is ignited in the tree of thy mercy. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. Increases enkindlement, heat and flame, with a fire which is kindled in the Sinai of thy manifestation, in the Sinai of thy manifestation. Verily, thou art the confirmer, the assister, the powerful, the generous, the loving, the generous, the loving, the loving, the loving, the
Abdul-Baha very often used imagery in his talks, especially when trying to explain a concept or teaching. The lamp and the light is an example. We also know from Abdul-Baha that unless we have the common faculty or intelligence, which is the fifth spiritual power, we cannot have imagination. Intelligence is our connection to the five physical powers. Remember, sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Without these senses, we have no information to give to our intelligence, and without intelligence, we have no imagination. We also know that without mind, we have no imagination. Okay, this is getting deep, but it's very interesting to me. It's quite incredible how all of this is fitting together. I hope we are unraveling a secret. Okay, to sum up a little bit, I've made a little flow chart with some of the terms we have been studying, and some more that I will present in the next section 3 of the 5 spiritual powers. Remember, this is just my opinion, and I hope you can share your thoughts with me. In the next section, I will talk about how the arts fits into all this. We'll talk a little bit about spirit, how language is reflected in the 5 spiritual powers. So it should be fun. The next talk will be part 3 of the 5 spiritual powers. So thank you for listening, and Abdul-Baha.
Immerse yourselves in the ocean of my words, that ye may unravel its secrets and discover